Të nderuar shikues të Euronews Albania, përshëndetje. Mirë se erdhët në Berlin Talks, në ciklin e emisioneve i cili synon të sqarojë tematikat më të mprehta dhe më të nxehta me të cilën do të ballafaqohen liderët politik në samitin e Tiranës në kuadër të procesit të Berlinit. Në emisionin e sotëm do të diskutojmë për një temë vërtet të ndjeshme për Ballkanin Perëndimor, bëhet fjalë për energjinë e rinovueshme dhe mjedisin. Për ta bërë këtë bisedë, pra për të kuptuar më mirë realitetin konkret ku ndodhen vendet e Ballkanit Perëndimor dhe sfidat e tyre për të ecur përpara, un kam kënaqësinë që në lidhje direkte nga Beogradi të jetë zoti Aleksandar Kovačević, i cili është përfaqësues i Institutit Rregullator të Energjive të Rinovueshme dhe të Mjedisit në Republikën e Serbisë. Mr. Kovačević, thank you very much indeed, sir, for finding time to talk to us. It's a pleasure to talk to a professional of your caliber.
Thank you.
Mr. Kovačević, if I can start by asking you a question, how would you define the state of the Western Balkan countries in their attempts to ameliorate or to improve in the way to join the European Union regarding the renewable energy?
Actually, already former Yugoslavia was a fairly advanced country, as it is Albania, for example, in hydro energy. And hydro energy was actually established as a
clean,
strategic and the most important energy source already from 1947 and 1950s. So we can say that Marshall Plan for Europe already in end of 1940s and United Nations Economic Commission for Europe already start working on hydropower in the Balkans. However, things changed, and after 1970s until end of middle 80s, we, former Yugoslavia and all the republics, including North Macedonia and Serbia, Kosovo, Bosnia and Herzegovina, they have received or built quite a number of coal-fired plants. So these lignite plants used to be state-of-the-art at the time it was built, but of course today it's practically obsolete technology. And I have to say that lignite is not, let's say, as good or as high productivity source as it is in Poland or Germany or something like that. So conversion to renewable energy today is critically important, not only because of climate change and renewable energy as such, but because of improving productivity and efficiency of the energy system. Unfortunately, sorry. Yes,
no, sorry to interrupt, Mr. Kovačević. I just wanted to get your opinion. Have the governments of the Western Balkan countries taken this element very seriously, as all of them are saying that we want to join the European Union, and this one is an important element they have to fulfill in order to join the European Union at a given time?
That's exactly the problem. The people are looking into renewable energy as a kind of obligation because of, I don't know, climate change or EU accession process, etc. It's not understood entirely as a way of economic development and productivity improvement. And that is really the problem. So we think that, of course, governments have to embrace renewable energy as an economic development option, more than actually simply accession to EU or any kind of obligation.
Do you see the embryos of what you said present in the minds and hearts of the governments of the Western Balkan countries as a necessity for its citizens to proceed in renewable energies, Mr. Kovačević?
Not really, actually. This is, as I said, the problem is that renewable energy is not understood in the context of economic development, really.
Mr. Kovacevic, just getting ready for this program, I read in the report prepared by the institute you represent, not all the Balkan countries have signed the necessary international agreements and adopted the policy decisions to provide policy infrastructure for this kind of transition from coal and fossil energy into the renewable one. At least this needs a political will. Do you think that it needs only political will, or is there something more in it?
Well, it needs a lot of things. Political dimension is important. The dimension of energy security is important. A dimension of economic development is another important aspect. But fundamentally, the companies, they need investment capacity to actually invest into renewable energy. And this is very, very important but forgotten aspect. So if you look what is happening in the European Union, in Central Europe, in the countries over there, they have access to various commercial investment funds, such as modernization fund or free allocation of EU ETS system, etc., where they are really able to invest into renewable energy.
Mr. Kovacevic, in the report, you underline one message. Citizens of the Balkan countries breathe heavily polluted air. Their health is jeopardized, and poorest amongst us are not being properly helped to improve their life conditions and basic well-being. This is an essential element to attract the attention of the politicians in the Western Balkan countries and in the European Union to better cooperate with one another. Do you see it happening?
Again, not really, actually. We have two aspects of the air pollution. One aspect, of course, are coal-fired power plants. And they produce sulfur dioxide particulates, nitrogen oxides. It's a very high pollution. So we have 18 units of coal-fired plants in Balkans, something like 8,000 megawatts altogether. And air pollution effect of these plants is actually more than 220 plants in the rest of Europe. So it's extremely difficult pollution. To make things more difficult, pollution is actually happening. The power plants are located near the urban areas.
Urban centers.
And typically, they are located, in the mountains, they are located in the valleys, etc., with very little wind. This is a different condition than, for example, in Northern Europe, where you have a big open spaces with a lot of wind. So that's one dimension. The other dimension is extensive use of solid fuels, fuel wood and lignite, for residential heating. To make things more interesting, the anomaly of energy statistics is that we are now presenting use of fuel wood by population as a renewable energy in the energy balance. Actually, it is. Biomass is renewable energy, but efficiency of use of biomass in residential stoves is so low, and
it doesn't contribute.
The indoor and outdoor pollution is absolutely terrible. So if you look now, situation, for example, in Serbia, where 16% of energy balance is fuel wood, the modern renewable energy, wind and solar, is just 2%,
Mm-hmm.
then you have coal and oil and gas and hydropower.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Kovacevic, in one of the recommendations that you will put forward in the Tirana summit of the Berlin process, you underline the European Union should facilitate and finance an independent assessment report to the European Parliament and the national parliaments on the implementation of the Energy Community Treaty, accompanied by a proposal for further actions in order to induce an appropriate debate on the EU level. So my feeling is that we are lagging a lot behind meeting the targets if we want to join the European Union. Am I right or wrong?
Actually, Energy Community Treaty has been signed at the end of 2005 and ratified in 2006. At that time, expectation was that results will be delivered within 10 years.
Yeah.
And this agreement is signed for the period of 10 years. There was an expectation that during that period, countries will become members of EU. It actually happened to some extent. The original signatory parties, Romania, Bulgaria, and Croatia, they really joined European Union during that period of time. So this is one dimension. So we do have an experience that countries who have signed Energy Community Treaty really became members of EU.
Correct.
So this is one dimension. The other dimension is in other countries, there was a period till February 2013 where countries been able to use state aid and support for investments into energy sector. Very little of that really happened.
Why?
So we have not seen, for a variety of reasons, the financial, fiscal, etc. So the company's been forced to actually cross-subsidize the prices, and there was very, very little investment capacity anyway. So that's probably the most difficult reason. The other aspect, of course, is political will and what happened with on the management of Energy Community Treaty. We have seen two very important aspects. The only report about functioning and results of the Energy Community Treaty has been written by European Commission to European Parliament at the beginning of 2011.
Correct.
That is 12 years ago. And that report is also calling for better implementation.
Exactly.
And that report is also saying that something has to be done with energy poverty and these people who are actually exposed to terrible indoor pollution, etc., and so on. So that was 2011, and then treaty was extended from 2016 to 2026, and as it stands now, it's going to expire in July 2026.
Correct.
So we are now talking about a new extension.
But these extensions, Mr. Kovacevic, are they accompanied with proper expertise and financial support, or they are just normal extensions for the governments of the individual countries of the Western Balkans to continue to do what they are doing, one extension after every possible extension?
Yes, the extension in 2013, which decision was made to extend from 2016 to 2026. That extension was actually following the report to European Parliament. There was quite comprehensive discussion about reshuffling of the Energy Community Treaty. A big book was written about that with very, very comprehensive analysis. Some of that has been done. But we also see that implementation of a treaty is not really mentioned properly in the progress reports in EU accession process. Obviously, in every progress report, you have a chapter about
exactly, energy. Yes.
And it's mentioned over there. But much more important questions, obligations of a treaty and eventual breach of the treaty is also a breach of the rule of law. And it has to be mentioned in a chapter about rule of law. The problem of air pollution, following the recent resolution of the UN General Assembly, have to be mentioned in the chapter about human rights. And we don't see that happening. So in our understanding, the support from European Commission for implementation of a treaty is not really sufficient, not only in financial aspect, but also in substance, in political and integrity aspect.
What would you like to change, Mr. Kovacevic, in terms of the engagement, if you want, of the European Commission and the European actors in terms of adopting in the Western Balkans, in terms of pushing, finding incentives and pushing forward the individual countries and the Western Balkans as a region ahead in their attempts to improve working with renewable energies?
Energy Community Treaty needs more support. And this support is twofold. One is a thorough understanding of the rule of law and human rights consequences of this problem. So we have to have a real understanding that air pollution affects the basic human rights, and we have to have an understanding that implementing international treaty is a fundamental aspect of the rule of law. So this is a one dimension. The other dimension is that companies, not the governments,
yes,
but the companies,
private companies, you mean,
really operate on the ground, they need to have financial capabilities and means to actually invest and do something about the problem. And one of our recommendations for that purpose is that in the process of EU accession, the region need to go into EU ETS system, European emission trading system, receive the free allocations directly to the companies so they can use this to facilitate investments, and also that governments and local communities can actually access the European carbon market to sell carbon credits from reforestation, from doing something on a territory. Because as you know, also in Albania, you have this very, very important aspect, a need for reforestation along the rivers and the big hydropower systems. So we need a mechanism which is durable, predictable, which is set up for a long period of time, for let's say next 10 years, in order to actually facilitate investments in both replacing of coal-fired plants and reforestation.
Mr. Kovacevic, in one of the recommendations that you put forward, you write, on a broader political level and of real importance for the Berlin process, enabling and supporting a citizen-led energy mechanism has the potential to decisively contribute to the EU accession process. Can you clarify it a little bit more for us, because it sounds like a concrete proposal put forward to the politicians who will meet in Tirana?
Yes, I think this, whatever we are talking here are actually proposals for the summit. So the reality is that people have to be empowered to do something about their communities, their lives, and their properties. The reality is that we have a very, very long sequence. This is now nearly 30 years of relatively massive deforestation. If you look at the previous year, 2022, where there was a big concern about energy security, the prices went high, etc. But the prices of fuel wood went dramatically high.
Correct.
all across the region.
Correct.
That directly affects the lives of the people. And that directly affects the price of food, because these people in rural areas, these are producers of our food, actually. So they've been affected both by prices of fuel wood, by prices of fertilizers, by prices of diesel. So effectively, we have a significant problem there. And we think that energy efficiency, renewable energy, forestation may help and may improve the lives of these people. Also, if you go to places like Pljevlja in Montenegro, or like, I don't know, Kakanj in Bosnia, or Kosovo, or Bitola in Macedonia, you can see there, specifically during winter months, how life-changing will be a clean air. How important is clean air for these countries, for these local communities.
Absolutely. Mr. Kovacevic, you are an expert of huge knowledge on these issues. What is your personal expectation from the summit that will take place in Tirana, following the proposals that you are making, which are straightforward and concrete, and I think they will be understood correctly, at least by the members of the European Union who will come here, but as a Berlin process as such. What do you expect personally?
Look, the previous meeting of the Berlin process, which was happening in Berlin, made certain conclusions and actually push in this direction already. Now is the time. Now we have a green agenda for the Western Balkans,
correct,
which is with the Regional Cooperation Council, with RCC. This green agenda have an action plan, which is pretty practical and very straightforward, with 58 actual measures, what to do and how to do it. It's calling for accession of the Balkans into EU ETS system, so not regional, not national, not some patchy work of other solutions, but going directly to the large European market and being able to make use of the financial mechanisms which are available on that market. So our expectation is that Western Balkan leaders are going to understand how important is this for the life of citizens on one side, and how beneficial is this for the formation of national products, employment, and economic and fiscal capability of these countries.
Mr. Kovacevic, what about the expectations that you have from the European Commission and the main political actors in Europe, like France and Germany? Will they push it forward? Because being part of this treaty helps a lot the Western Balkans. But the question is, as you said, two questions actually. Are the political leaders of the Western Balkans ready to push for it, what you just explained? And will the members of the EC Commission or the main protagonists in Europe accept it as beneficial to the Western Balkans and beneficial to them?
Yes, actually our summit happens on Monday, 16th of October. The day after is a meeting of European Council, meeting of European Ministers of Energy. They will be talking about new energy market reform in Europe. And actually Western Balkan, being integral part of European energy market, may contribute in a mutual benefit to the European market. The hydro energy from Balkans is beneficial to Central Europe and to the most of Europe. It may help European countries to have more intermittent renewable energy, wind and solar. On the other side, emissions which are actually happening in Balkans They are not limited by the borders.
Correct.
They are crossing all across entire Europe. So we are talking here about something which is beneficial for all European citizens.
Will they take it seriously this time? Because, as you mentioned earlier, there are so many factors that are contributing to the necessity of applying the renewables. But do you think that the citizens, the governments, and the Europeans are fully aware that the Western Balkans should be an integral part of the European Union in as far as renewables and environmental issues are concerned?
Well, these are noble
causes,
objectives, I would say. Yes. However, despite its importance, I would say that we are now in one additional problem. We are here exposed to significant problem of energy security. So way beyond external aspects. Of course, we are exposed to the risks of the war in Ukraine. We are exposed to the risks of international trading issues. We have a war in Israel. We have a serious disruption of some of the transport routes around Mediterranean. So, but beyond all this, we have a very, very difficult technical failures in lignite-fired power plants. These plants are providing nearly 60% of electricity in the region. We have a serious deforestation, which is a reason for very difficult flooding. And we may remember the sequence from 2014 when terrible flooding actually affected the entire region. So we have floods every now and then. We have forest fires. So we have very, very serious disruptions, which are internal, which are because of local problems, nothing to do with external pressures. So at this moment, to maintain a basic security of supply, we really, really need investments. And this is, of course, in our region, unfortunately, the problem with the security of supply always convert immediately into political or social problem.
Yeah, this is a major issue.
It's already the case. You can see it in Serbia, in Macedonia, Montenegro, Bosnia, Kosovo, that very big industrial installations are not operating because of lack of electricity. So shortage of electricity is already visible. The other thing is prices are not affordable.
Correct.
Price of electricity immediately affects the price of fuel wood. Fuel wood prices went up last year, but this year they didn't go down.
Correct.
They're still very high. So we have a difficult situation here. And obviously, when you put all this together in a context, this is a huge fiscal risk. And I think that this is an aspect which may actually prompt our political leaders to look for comprehensive solutions for access to European EU ETS and financial markets, to work with European Union more closely, more comprehensively, to actually get investments moving.
And my final question to you, Mr. Kovacevic, do you feel optimistic about the near future? Will these recommendations that we discussed in this program will be accepted by the political leaders at all levels, and will they push it forward?
Very difficult to say. I'm not optimistic, certainly.
Yeah, I can sense it.
I'm more kind of very cautious here, and I'm pretty sure that the real situation on the ground is not well communicated to the top of the political systems in the countries. And I hope that leaders who are going to gather together on Monday, that they will have a vision and bold, understanding of what is really needed, so they can move ahead and actually get a real political leadership, so the job and investments eventually could be done.
And deliver. Mr. Kovacevic, thank you very much indeed for your time and the opinions that you shared with the viewers of Euronews Albania. I am most grateful to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Të nderuar shikues të Euronews Albania, ky ishte Berlin Talks për ditën e sotme. Deri në takimet tona të radhës, nga unë Franco Egro, faleminderit për vëmendjen dhe miru takofshim.